There comes a moment in every life when you feel the sting of loss, the ache of rejection, or the confusion of doors that seem to close without explanation. Sometimes it's a friendship that fades, or relationship that ends, an opportunity that slips through your hands. You may wonder, why did this happen? Why didn't it work out? What did I do wrong? But I want to tell you something today that can change the way you see those moments. Not everyone, not everything, not every path is meant for you. And when God says, they're not for you, the wisest thing you can do is listen. So many people waste years chasing what was never meant to be theirs. They pour energy into relationships that drain them, opportunities that diminish them, or paths that lead them further away from peace. And the reason they stay is because it feels safer to hold on than to let go. But hear this clearly, when you hold on to what was never meant for you, you block your hands from receiving what is. Letting go is not weakness, it is wisdom. It takes courage to release what you thought you needed. It takes strength to step back and say, this may have been good for a season, but it is no longer meant for me. The truth is, some people are only meant to walk with you part of the way. Some opportunities are only meant to last for a season. And some doors are closed because there is a better one waiting to be opened. The first thing I want you to understand is this. Closed doors are protection, not punishment. When a relationship ends, when a friendship breaks apart, when a career path shuts down, you may feel as though you have failed. But what if that closed door was saving you from a deeper heartbreak down the road? What if the ending you grieve is actually a rescue you cannot yet see? Sometimes you pray for guidance, and the answer comes not in the form of an open door, but in the form of a closed one. And though it hurts in the moment, that closed door is guiding you away from harm and toward what will truly bless your life. I remember speaking to someone once who said, I begged for that person to stay in my life. I couldn't imagine going on without them. But when they left years later, I realized their leaving saved me. If they had stayed, I would not have grown. If they had stayed, I would have lost myself. That story is not unique. Many of you listening now could look back and see the very same truth in your own life. At the time, you thought you had lost something valuable, but now you see you were being protected. The second truth I want to share is this. Not every person is meant to walk your entire journey. Some are there to teach you, to shape you, to prepare you, but not to stay forever, and that is not failure. It is life. You can love someone deeply, but love does not always mean permanence. Some people are chapters, not the whole story. Some are stepping stones, not the destination. And when you try to make temporary people permanent, you invite unnecessary pain into your life. You see, life is a journey, and along the way, people will come and go. Some will lift you, some will challenge you, some will even hurt you. But every single one plays a role in shaping who you become. And once their role is complete, clinging to them will only hold you back. It is not rejection to release them. It is wisdom. It is not unkindness to let them go. It is maturity. Because the truth is, the wrong people cannot take you to the right places. Now, the third truth is this. When you ignore the signs that someone or something is not for you, the consequences grow heavier. Life always whispers before it shouts. At first, you may feel small nudges, a lack of peace, an uneasiness in your spirit, little red flags you try to explain away. And if you ignore those signs, the whispers grow louder, the weight increases, until finally, what could have been a gentle release turns into a painful breaking. That is why you must listen early. Pay attention when peace leaves you. Pay attention when your soul feels unsettled. Those are not accidents, they are signals. I once heard someone say, peace is the compass. If you lose your peace, it is a sign to stop, to reevaluate, to consider whether you are walking in alignment with what is meant for you. Too many people silence that inner alarm because they are afraid of change, but ignoring the signs will never lead to fulfillment. When you silence the warnings, you only prolong the pain, and pain grows heavier the longer you carry it. The fourth truth I want you to carry today is this: when you release what is not for you, you make room for what is. Life hates a vacuum. When you let go of something that no longer serves you, you create space for something better to take its place. That is why release is never the end. It is always the beginning of something greater. But you cannot receive with closed fists. As long as you hold tightly to what is wrong for you, your hands are not open to grasp what is right. So when life takes someone out of your path, when a door closes, when a relationship ends, don't waste all your energy chasing after what left. Don't exhaust yourself trying to reopen a door that was closed for your protection. Instead, lift your eyes to what lies ahead. Ask yourself, what is this making room for? What new beginning is waiting for me? Because I promise you, what lies ahead will always be greater than what you left behind. And so I say to you today, when God says, they're not for you, listen. It may hurt now, but healing is on the way. It may feel like loss, but it is actually gain. It may feel like the end, but it is only the beginning. Your story is not finished. The right people, the right doors, the right opportunities, they are waiting for you. But you must be willing to let go of what is wrong for you in order to step into what is right. There are seasons when life feels unfair, when the people you wanted most in your corner are the very ones who walk away. And in those moments, the heart cries out, why? Why did they leave? Why did they choose another path? Why couldn't they see my value? But here is a truth that will set you free. Not everyone is meant to recognize your worth. Some people are blind to the treasure within you, and if you spend your life begging for their acceptance, you will miss the ones who were designed to see you clearly all along. You must stop giving your energy to those who cannot love you as you deserve. Stop shrinking yourself to fit into places you've outgrown. Stop twisting yourself to meet expectations that were never meant for you in the first place. When someone cannot value you, it is not always a reflection of your lack. It is often a reflection of their limitation. And when life removes such people, it is an act of mercy, even if it feels like pain. I once spoke to a young man who said, "She walked out of my life, and I thought my world had ended. I begged for her to stay. I prayed for another chance, but she left, and years later I realized that her leaving was the greatest gift I never asked for. Because if she had stayed, I would have remained the smaller version of myself, the one who didn't know his worth." What he thought was rejection was actually redirection. And that is often how life works. There comes a moment in every life when you feel the sting of loss, the ache of rejection, or the confusion of doors that seem to close without explanation. Sometimes it's a friendship that fades, a relationship that ends, an opportunity that slips through your hands. You may wonder, why did this happen? Why didn't it work out? What did I do wrong? But I want to tell you something today that can change the way you see those moments. Not everyone, not everything, not every path is meant for you. And when God says they're not for you, the wisest thing you can do is listen. So many people waste years chasing what was never meant to be theirs. They pour energy into relationships that drain them, opportunities that diminish them, or paths that lead them further away from peace. And the reason they stay is because it feels safer to hold on than to let go. But hear this clearly. When you hold on to what was never meant for you, you block your hands from receiving what is. Letting go is not weakness. It is wisdom. It takes courage to release what you thought you needed. It takes strength to step back and say, "This may have been good for a season, but it is no longer meant for me." The truth is, some people are only meant to walk with you part of the way. Some opportunities are only meant to last for a season, and some doors are closed because there is a better one waiting to be opened. The first thing I want you to understand is this. Closed doors are protection, not punishment. When a relationship ends, when a friendship breaks apart, when a career path shuts down, you may feel as though you have failed. But what if that closed door was saving you from a deeper heartbreak down the road? What if the ending you grieve is actually a rescue you cannot yet see? Sometimes you pray for guidance, and the answer comes not in the form of an open door, but in the form of a closed one. And though it hurts in the moment, that closed door is guiding you away from harm and toward what will truly bless your life. I remember speaking to some on rejection is not always personal. It is often purposeful. When you face rejection, it may feel like failure, but in reality, it is guidance. It is life's way of steering you away from what is wrong for you so you can find what is right. Imagine a navigator guiding a ship. If the captain insists on sailing into shallow waters, the navigator will shout, "Turn, don't go that way." The captain may resist, thinking he knows best. But the navigator sees what the captain cannot. In the same way, when someone leaves or a door closes, it may feel cruel, but it is actually guidance. It is life shouting, "Don't go that way. That path will sink you. There is a better way ahead." Another truth is this: people reveal who they are over time. At first, someone may appear perfect, charming, supportive, aligned with your dreams. But character is revealed in the small cracks, in the subtle choices, in the way they treat you when the spotlight is gone. And if you ignore those revelations because you are desperate to hold on to them, you set yourself up for deeper pain later. When life reveals who someone truly is, believe it. When the mask slips and you see they cannot walk with you where you are going, listen. Don't cling to an image of who they could be. Accept who they are and release them if they are not for you. Too many hearts have been broken, not because they didn't see the signs, but because they refused to listen to them. They held on to the potential instead of the reality. They prayed for someone to change instead of recognizing that change may never come. And in the process, they delayed their own joy. When someone shows you they are not for you, through their words, their actions, their indifference, pay attention. That revelation is a gift, even if it feels like heartbreak. It takes courage to walk away. It takes strength to say, "I will not chase what does not choose me. I will not cling to what diminishes me. I will not beg for love where love does not freely flow." But that courage is the doorway to freedom. And once you walk through it, you will discover a peace that no forced relationship could ever give. Think about the times in your life when you held on to the wrong people, the wrong opportunities, the wrong paths. How much energy did it cost you? How much peace did it steal? How much joy did it drain? And what happened once you finally let go? More often than not, once you released, you found a lightness, a freedom, a new beginning. That is no accident. It is the way life is designed. Release is the prerequisite for renewal. So, if you are in a season now where someone has walked away, or where you feel life pulling you from what you thought you needed, trust it. Do not fight so hard to reopen doors that were meant to stay closed. Do not cling so tightly to people who were never meant to stay. Let go, even if your hands tremble. Release, even if your heart aches, because the space that opens in your life will not remain empty for long. Something greater is waiting to enter. I remember meeting a woman who said, "I lost my job and I thought my life was over. I cried for weeks. I felt like a failure, but that job was destroying me, draining me, crushing me. Losing it forced me to step into a new path, one that filled me with joy and purpose. What I thought was the worst moment of my life turned out to be the best." Her story is not unique. Again and again, people discover that what they thought was loss was actually gain in disguise. And maybe that's what you need to hear today. The loss you are grieving may be the very thing making room for your miracle. The relationship that ended may be creating space for someone who will love you without condition. The door that closed may be pointing you toward a greater opportunity that you could not have imagined. The ending you fear is often the beginning you need. So when God says, "They're not for you," listen. Trust the guidance. Trust the protection. Trust that what leaves your life was never meant to stay. And trust that what is meant for you will never pass you by. He once who said, "I begged for that person to stay in my life. I couldn't imagine going on without them. But when they left years later, I realized their leaving saved me. If they had stayed, I would not have grown. If they had stayed, I would have lost myself." That story is not unique. Many of you listening now could look back and see the very same truth in your own life. At the time, you thought you had lost something valuable, but now you see you were being protected. The second truth I want to share is this: not every person is meant to walk your entire journey. Some are there to teach you, to shape you, to prepare you, but not to stay forever. And that is not failure, it is life. You can love someone deeply, but love does not always mean permanence. Some people are chapters, not the whole story. Some are stepping stones, not the destination. And when you try to make temporary people permanent, you invite unnecessary pain into your life. There is a hidden danger in holding on too long. When you cling to people who are not meant for you, you begin to shrink yourself to fit into spaces that cannot contain your full growth. You lower your voice so they will not feel intimidated. You compromise your dreams so they will not feel left behind. You silence your needs so they will not be inconvenienced. And in the process, you lose sight of who you truly are. That is the tragedy of refusing to let go. You begin to abandon yourself in order to keep someone else. But life did not design you to live small. You were not created to fold yourself into the corners of someone else's comfort. The right people will never require you to diminish yourself to stay. They will celebrate your growth. They will cheer for your dreams. They will not feel threatened by your shine. That is how you know the difference. The ones meant for you will expand your life, not reduce it. They will bring peace, not confusion. They will lift you, not drain you. I once spoke with a man who said, "I spent years chasing after her approval. I did everything she asked, gave everything I had, and still it was never enough. The more I gave, the less I felt like myself. I thought that was love, but looking back, I realize it was bondage. That confession is one so many people could echo. Because when you are with someone not meant for you, it will never be enough. No matter how much you give, they will not be satisfied. No matter how much you sacrifice, it will not change them. And the harder you try to hold on, the emptier you will become. But when the right people come into your life, it feels different. There is no striving to prove your worth because they see it already. There is no begging for attention because it flows naturally. There is no shrinking to fit because they make space for your fullness. And that is why letting go of the wrong ones is so important. As long as your hands are gripping what is wrong, you cannot receive what is right. Another truth you must understand is this. Sometimes life removes people not because they are bad, but because they are simply not aligned with your purpose. They may be wonderful in their own way, kind and well-meaning, but not meant to walk where you are going. If you force them to stay, you will both suffer, because they cannot thrive in a place they were never designed to fit. Release in those cases is not rejection, it is respect. It is recognizing that two paths are diverging and that it is better to bless and release than to cling and decay. Think about it. How many times have you stayed too long in a place you knew was not right for you? How many times did your spirit whisper, "This isn't it," but you silenced that voice out of fear? Fear of being alone, fear of the unknown, fear of starting over. But let me tell you, starting over is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of a better one. Fear tells you that letting go is losing, but in truth, letting go is winning. It is reclaiming your power, your peace, your future. There is a saying, when you refuse to move, life will move for you. And it is true. If you resist the nudges, if you ignore the whispers, if you cling when you should release, life will eventually force the change. A relationship will collapse. A door will slam shut. An ending will come suddenly. And though it feels devastating, it is simply life saying, "You would not let go, so I had to take it from your hands." That is why it is always easier to release early than to resist until the breaking comes. Listen carefully. Peace is your compass. If being around someone constantly drains your peace, pay attention. If pursuing an opportunity fills you with dread rather than excitement, take note. If your body feels heavy every time you walk into that space, stop dismissing it. These are not coincidences, they are signals. Life is trying to tell you this is not for you, and if you ignore those signals, the cost will only grow heavier. But when you listen, when you honor the signs, you will discover freedom. Suddenly the air feels lighter. Suddenly your heart feels calmer. Suddenly your steps feel steadier. That is the gift of listening. You exchange the weight of what is wrong for the peace of what is right. And in that peace you make space for your miracle. I want to remind you of this. You are not defined by who leaves. Too many people carry shame when someone walks out of their life, as if their departure means they are unworthy. But hear me clearly. Someone's inability to stay does not mean you are unlovable. Someone's refusal to value you does not mean you are without value. Someone's choice to walk away does not mean you are not worth walking with. Their leaving says nothing about your worth. It only reveals their capacity. And sometimes their capacity is simply too small to hold the greatness within you. So do not tie your worth to who stays or who leaves. Anchor your worth in something unshakable. The truth that you are enough, even when others cannot see it. The right people will recognize it. The right opportunities will align with it. The right paths will affirm it. But until then, you must hold onto it yourself. And here is the beauty. Every time you release what is not for you, you rise. You rise into more strength, more wisdom, more freedom. You rise into a clearer understanding of who you are and what you deserve. And that rising prepares you for the right connections, the right opportunities, the right doors. What felt like loss becomes gain. What felt like rejection becomes redirection. What felt like an ending becomes a beginning. So when God says, "They're not for you," listen. Don't fight it. Don't beg for what was never yours. Don't cling to what drains you. Listen, release, and rise. Because on the other side of that release is the miracle you've been waiting for. There is a temptation when someone walks away to chase after them, to run, to plead, to try one more time to prove that you are worth staying for. But let me tell you something. Love is never proven by how much you beg. Respect is never earned by how much you sacrifice your dignity. The people meant for you will not require you to beg, because they will already recognize your value. If they cannot see it on their own, your pleading will not make them. There is power in allowing people to go. There is dignity in stepping aside and saying, "If you cannot see who I am, if you cannot honor what I bring, then perhaps this road is not ours to walk together." That is not weakness, it is strength. It is strength to release without resentment, to let go without bitterness, to trust that even in loss there is gain. I want you to picture something. Imagine holding a fist tightly around a handful of sand. The tighter you grip, the more the grains slip out. But if you open your palm, some of the sand remains, and what leaves does so freely. That is how relationships work. If you grip in fear, you lose what you're trying to keep. If you hold loosely, allowing freedom, what is meant to stay will stay. What is meant to go will go. And in both, you remain at peace. Do not think that endings mean failure. Sometimes an ending is the greatest act of success, because it shows you were brave enough to honor yourself. It shows you were wise enough to discern what drained you. It shows you were strong enough to walk away, even with trembling steps, into a future you could not yet see. That is not failure. That is courage, and courage is what it takes to face the unknown, because the unknown is where new life grows. The unknown is where new opportunities wait. The unknown is where the people who will cherish you are standing, looking for you, ready to walk with you. But you cannot meet them if you are still chained to what was. You cannot see the open door if you are staring at the closed one. You may be asking, but what if I never find better? What if letting go leaves me empty? That is fear talking. Fear is the voice that tells you you're not enough, that you're too much, that you're unworthy of more. But fear lies every time, because what is meant for you will never pass you by. It may take time, it may arrive differently than you expect, but it will come. And when it comes, you will see why everything else had to fall away. I know some of you are weary of holding on, weary of giving chances, weary of waiting for change, and maybe you are wondering if it is really time to release. Let me tell you, if the same cycle keeps repeating, if the pain outweighs the peace, if you have lost yourself in the process, then yes, it is time. It is time to release the weight, time to unclench your fists, time to listen to that still, small voice whispering, "They're not for you." But remember, this letting go is not about hatred. It is not about bitterness. It is not about proving someone wrong. It is about freedom. It is about choosing peace over chaos, growth over stagnation, clarity over confusion. It is about aligning yourself with what is right for you. When you release with love, you make room for love. When you release with grace, you make room for grace. When you release with peace, you make room for peace. And here's the key. Sometimes the very act of letting go inspires the other person to grow. Sometimes it is only in your absence that they realize what they had. Sometimes it is only when you stop giving, stop bending, stop pleading, that they awaken to the value you carried. Whether they come back or not is not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to honor yourself, to listen when life says they're not for you, and to trust that whatever unfolds will be for your good. Think of the stories of people you admire. Not one of them reached greatness without releasing something. They had to walk away from relationships, from opportunities, from comfort zones that no longer served them. They had to risk loneliness, risk criticism, risk uncertainty. But because they listened to the call to release, they stepped into purpose. And the same is true for you. Your release may feel like a storm now, but storms clear the air. Your release may feel like fire, but fire refines. Your release may feel like an ending, but endings carve the path for beginnings. Every time you let go of what is not for you, you are saying yes to what is. You are saying yes to your destiny, your peace, your growth. Let me ask you this. Are you willing to trust? Are you willing to believe that life knows better than your limited perspective? Are you willing to lay down the fear that has kept you clinging and pick up the courage that will set you free? Because if you are, you will not only release what is wrong, you will rise into what is right. And when you rise, everything shifts. The heaviness lifts, the confusion fades, the road ahead becomes clearer. You begin to attract people who see you, who honor you, who uplift you. You begin to find opportunities that align with your passions. You begin to live with more joy, more freedom, more peace. That is the reward of listening. That is the gift of obedience to that inner knowing. So today, I leave you with this call. Do not ignore the voice inside you any longer. Do not settle for what diminishes you. Do not cling to what drains you. When God says they're not for you, listen. Release with grace. Trust with courage and step forward in faith, not fear. Because what is waiting on the other side of your release is greater than anything you could imagine. You are stronger than you realize. You are braver than you believe. And you are worthy of connections that honor, opportunities that fulfill, and a future that shines. Do not let fear keep you bound to what was never meant for you. Listen, release, and rise.